Today in this video we are going to categorize the credit card transactions with the help of UiPath Generative AI activities. Hi everyone, welcome back to the next video in the UiPath Generative AI series where we are trying to explore this generative AI package in a step-by-step manner by building a small use case. Today I want to introduce you to the new one which is called the Categorize activity. My name is Mukeshkala. I am a 4 times UiPath MVP certified solution architect and a LinkedIn top voice. I have shared my LinkedIn details on the page. Happy to be a part of your network. Also, you see a small QR code on the screen that is for the WhatsApp community. So you can scan the QR and join the YouTube channel WhatsApp community as well, right? So let's get started with this one, which is the categorize activity. I am going to do it in a step-by-step manner, and I would request you guys to also open your UiPath Studio and practice along with me so that your concepts are more clear, right? And lastly, in case you are coming to the channel for the first time, haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel to get the next videos in the same playlist. Having said that, let's get started. This would be the approach which we are going to take in these activities. First of all, we are going to understand what exactly is the activity. That would be a theoretical part. Then we are going to define a small use case, which would be a pretty basic one. And then that use case we are going to develop in a step-by-step manner by using the GenAI activities along with RPA, right? I have a request to you guys, just please open your UiPath Studio and follow along to get a better understanding of these activities, okay? Today's video is in continuation to all of these videos. So in case you haven't already watched the previous one or you have some doubts, you can always refer to these videos. The link is available in the description. Okay. So first thing first, what today we are going to do. So for that, let me show you an Excel file. Okay, so I have an Excel file with me. In that Excel file, we can see that I have a couple of transactions. This looks like a credit card statement. Into the credit card statement, we have the transaction ID, when the transaction was done, and then this is the description which was there, right? And then we have some amount, and then where actually this payment came from. Does it came from credit card, UPI, or whatever it is, right? And what is the status? Now, assuming that today I am a banker or I am an individual who want to categorize this and want to find out where actually I have spent in which category. So let's say this is my my statement, and I want to simply know that, okay, last month, assuming that this is the last month, how much I have spent in this category, into the category of food, into the category of travel. Or it can be something for the bank person to better categorize and give you best offers as per that category which you are spending, right? So the whole idea today is we want to put these transactions into some of the categories so that we can take more decisions, right? And all of this we are going to do with the help of GenAI activities. Okay, so this would be the use case which we are addressing today. So this is the same use case, guys, automating transaction categorize into the categorization into the banking. So to better understand, let's say there is a bank which is having thousands of customers, which they are doing the withdrawals, payment, transfers, and as a banker now you want to categorize it, right? So what is the solution? The solution today which we are using is the UiPath AI categorization activity which we are going to do. So as of now today I am extracting the information directly from an Excel. However, with the help of RPA, UiPath, we can extract this information from a web portal, from a website. We can retrieve this from an email as well, or you can also go to the credit card statement and read that, right? So that would be your input, and all of that we have already seen in one of the previous videos, that how do you read it from the email. We have also seen how do you extract, export the data, extract it from the web portals, database, right? So all of that is covered. So once you have the data, you can actually go and use this, right? And now what would be the benefit? So if I talk about the use case, we have to get some benefits. So at a very high level, what would be the benefits? For the customers, you would be able to provide him with the better spending insights, right? Which category you have spent what amount. It would be automate the transaction classification, reducing the manual work, help in the fraud detection by flagging unusual and miscategorized transactions. So for example, there is a category where you have not defined, so you can actually mark it as a fraud, and it will also help the user to get a personalized recommendation depending on the spending behavior. So for example, I'm spending a lot on food, so basically now I would receive food coupons from the bank on that credit card, right? So this could be some of the use cases which you can relate to. And with that, now let's jump back to UiPath Studio and try to build it in a step-by-step manner. Okay, so I am back into my UiPath Studio. I have a project which we have been using, and you can see that I have added the dependency of UiPath.integrationServices.activities that gives us all these GenAI activities. Okay, now the first thing first is we want to read the data, and before that I want to just go and create a sequence. Okay, and I'll call this sequence as something like transaction classification practice. Okay, I am not following all the best practices, guys, because we are just trying to understand the GenAI activities. Okay, now this is an Excel, I think, which is available into my this path. Let me just quickly open that. Okay, so here is the Excel which is located into my this path. This is an Excel. You can just create any of the sample Excel and you can just directly pass the data. That should still work. Okay, so now first thing first is I have to go and read the Excel. Now to read the Excel, I'll go to the activities and I will use something which is called read range, and then you can see that I have a lot of activities which are coming. Excel is a full-fledged thing, so not going into details, but I'm going to use something which is called read range workbook, because I just have to read and write the data from the Excel, and it does not require Excel to be installed. In case you are new to Excel, I have full-fledged complete playlist and videos on the Excel playlist as well. Okay, so I'll just drag and drop and use this one, which is the read range workbook. And now read range is asking me where is your workbook path. Okay, so my workbook is located at this location, so I'll go shift right click, copy as path. As of now I'm hard coding it because it's just to use the GenAI activities. We'll pass the read range path. Then the next thing is what exactly is the sheet name. The name of the sheet is sheet 1, so I'll just go here and specify sheet 1. What do you want to read? I want to read all the data, right? And then I'll simply go to the properties. Do my data have headers? Yes, we do have headers because these are the headers, and whatever we read, we are interested in this column, which is the description, and then we want to categorize it and put it into this one, right? So we are interested in the description. Okay, so for that, once we read this data table, we are going to get a data table. So we are going to put it into dt underscore data, and then what I'll simply do is I'll just go here and I will just use something which is called for each. So which is nothing but this one, for each in data table. Yeah, for each row in data table, right? And where is the data? The data is available into this one, which is the dt data. We are going to get the data into the current row, and then I'll simply take a assign activity. Okay, and then I'll just try to get the description. So I'll just say control plus k str underscore description. So from each of the rows I am interested to get this description, which is in the description column. This name should be exactly the same, and then here I just write that from the current row I am interested in the description. My bad. I'll just do a control C. From the let me just maximize it. From the current row I am interested in the description, and then I just put dot to string, and that should give me the description for all these records one by one. Okay, and then let me just go ahead and put a log message activity, and into the log message I'll just put info level log, and I'll just print str description. I'll save this. Since I'm using the workbook activity, so I need to close this, right? So I'll just close this. I'll say save, and then I just go and say run the file, right? So first thing is we need to go to the Excel and read the data one by one, and then we are going to utilize the same data into the categorize activity. Okay, and it's going to read the data. In the output I have all the descriptions which are available. Now the next thing is pass this description to the categorize activity and categorize it. Okay, so now to use the categorize activity, I'll go back again to the activities. Can just increase the size here, maybe something like this, so it's easy to see, right? Okay, so now I'll just go to the activities, and then I will search here something which is called the categorize activity, which is inside your available, and this is a part of the integration services pack. If you are not getting it, go here and make sure that you have clicked on this one which is available. Okay, and then I just drag and drop this categorize activity at the top. Okay, as of now it will come inside, but first we want to see that what exactly that activity is, so just wanted to go here, right? And then when you are talking about the categorize activity, here it says what is the content you want to categorize, and that content is nothing but whatever we are getting here. However, to work with the categorize activity, there is an important thing which is called the categories, right? How would you want the AI to categorize your stuff? And for that it is a dictionary, which is a collection of key and the value. To do that, simply click on this categories, and that will open this wizard for you. Into this one you just have to specify what are the different categories you want to have and how do you describe that category. Okay, so my first category is food and dining, right? And now you have to tell AI how it will be able to identify what kind of transaction should come into this category. And for that I am just writing this thing. I'll just maximize and show it to you guys, that the transaction related to food purchases, restaurant, cafes and food delivery will come into this category, which is food and dining. Okay, I think there is something wrong. I might have there was two extra double quotes, right? Now I'll just go and I just keep on adding the entry. The second entry for me is shopping, right? So now AI is asking you, how do you know that this is from the shopping? I can say that this is the description for the shopping, where retail and the online purchase of goods and services would come into the shopping, right? I'll just quickly do it for all the other stuff. So I hope you guys got the concept, right? So you have to tell AI which all different categories you can have. So I can just go and say this is the utilities, and then the utilities would be something like all the bills, purchases for utilities like gas connections, electricity bill, all of that would be coming here. Electricity, water, telecom, anything whatever you see would be coming here. I can save this, and then I was also having some transactions which were related to travel, so I can just go and say travel, and then in the travel, anything which is related to booking of the not accommodation, but yeah, accommodation, transportation, everything will come under this categories, right? Because hotel also come into the travel. And lastly, I might have some done some of the investment like sales and purchase of the stocks, bonds, right? So all of that, any financial transaction related to, let's say, the saving plans, stock market, all of that would come into this investment category, right? So it's very simple, right? So basically now you can think as per your use case. You might have multiple different categories, and in the plain language you just have to explain the AI what actually these things mean, right? And what I have done is I have just put all of these categories here, right? So I'll just you can just pause the video here and you can just try to add more of the related stuff, and once you are done, all you have to do is just click on this guy which is save. Okay, now what is AI going to do? So whatever content you provide here, AI is now going to categorize that thing and it is going to give you output. So now I can go to the, so basically now I can collapse this and then I can just drag and drop it after the log message activity here, right? So we are reading the data, we are getting the data table. From the data table I was able to get all the description. The description is coming in which variable? str description, one by one. And then in the categorize activity, I want it to just categorize the str description, and that's it, right? And then you have one optional thing, which is the description of the content, which you can provide, or which you can just say these are the banking transaction, or you can ignore this as well. Important thing here is, if you go to the properties, okay, you have this one is the categorize, and one is the content category, which category the content is, right? So I am interested in this one, so I'll just go here, Control plus K, and I say that this is my category, right? And once it is able to categorize that, in the log message activity, I'll just repeat the same, and I'll print here category, and then I want to just print the category whatever it has got, and the end objective would be to paste it back to the Excel, right? However, before doing that, I would like to quickly test it, right? So this is the small automation, guys. We read the data, then use the categorize activity, provide the content, we have defined the categories in a real-time automation. All of these things will come from a different automation, or from the variables, arguments, or the assets, right? And then let me just go and put a breakpoint here. We'll just run it for 1 or 2 transactions, and then we would be able to see that in action, right? So I'll just put a breakpoint here as well. Maybe I can remove this and say debug the file, right? I am not going to run it for all the transaction. I just want to see whether the categorize activity is working or not. So I have triggered in a breakpoint. I'll do a step into. Okay, so if I go to the output, you can see that currently it says payment at Domino's Pizza, and then if I say step into, it says the category is food and dining. Okay, let's me do it for one more, which is the payment at Starbucks, step into food and dining, right? So it's working as expected, so we can just close this. And now to run it end to end, all we have to do is whatever we are getting here, which is the category, we just have to put it back to the Excel, which is absolutely a simple task. And let me show it to you as well, right? So I have to put the category here. This column is column number G. Okay, so to do that, we have already done that in the past, so I hope you guys remember this. So we have to write the data back to the Excel. So I'll use something which is called write cell workbook, because I don't want to go to the Excel integration and all. I just have to write a cell, so this thing works for me. And this is asking me where is your Excel. So the Excel is located into the same path. I can just copy paste the complete path of the Excel. Okay, here. Now it is asking me what is the sheet name. The sheet name for me is sheet 1. And then what is the cell content, right? So the cell content is nothing but the category, right? Whatever category you have got, that was you want to write in the cell. Now the important question, where actually you are going to write. So for the first one, for the first record, first row is the header. So we want to write it in G2, G3, G4, G5, G6, G7, right? So column number G is there, right? And the index is changing for each and every row. So we have to write a little bit of dynamic logic. That's absolutely simple. When you iterate anything into the for each, right, you have something which is called index, right? We have already talked index in older videos, so guys who are following this channel, you might understood it, but for the people who are new, you can use something which is called index. I'll hook up the video into the description and read more about index. But quickly, if I go to the for each, every loop kind of activity has something which is called index. It is a zero base index, so I can just go here and I say index, and that will give me the number for the rows. So whenever UiPath is iterating the row, for the first row it would have 0 index, then 1, then 2, then 3, and so on and so forth, right? And I can actually use that index to write the data back to the Excel. And to do that, we go to this one, which is the cell property. Where is the cell? I can open this cell, open in expression editor, right? And here I'm going to utilize that, right? So we want to write it in the G, and then the first time the index would be 0, right? Because it is the 0th base index, and we have seen that for me the first value was second. So I'll just go and add 2. So 0 plus 2 will give me G2 when it is running for the first value. When the loops complete and when it comes back, the index would be 1, so that will give me 3. So for my second record, it would give me 3. As simple as that, right? I have explained this logic into the index video which I shown previously, so please do watch if you didn't understand this, but I hope you guys understood it. Index is a zero base index. 0 plus 2 gives me 2, so it will write g2, g3, g4 and so on and so forth, and save this, and that's it. If everything works as expected, what should happen is it should go and it should write the categories for all these 20 records in this. Okay, so let's save this. I'll close this because I'm using the workbook, but we always has an option to see the monitor the output. So let's go here and I say run the file. Okay, if everything works expected, it should be able to write the data back to the Excel. Let's go back to the UiPath output and it is showing me the data, right? If you are able to do the same, let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and like the video as well, because when you like and subscribe, it sends a notification to the YouTube that yes, people are liking this content, so it promotes the YouTube channel and also help me to understand that yes, you are liking this kind of content. Okay, I'll wait for your thumbs up and your comment. Okay, and now you can see that all these categories are properly defined. So to test that, I'll go back to my folder. I'll open this one, which is the credit card transaction, and here it is. Okay, so let's try to validate. Payment at Domino's Pizza is food and dining. This has came into the shopping. It is Amazon, Nike and Apple. This has came into the travel category because it was related to hotel, Uber and all. Payment at this has came to the category of investment, right? So now as an individual or in a bank, now I can actually see that where my customer is investing what amount of money. You can write the next set of automation, you can club them, you can create a chart, you can create a pie chart, generate offers. All of that is your part of automation, but I believe with this you have some use cases which are coming in your mind, which you can think of, right? Let me know those use cases in the comments, and yes, I believe you are able to follow along with me. Okay, so guys, that is pretty much I wanted to cover in this categorize activity. Any more questions, any more doubts, feel free to write me in the comments, or you can also drop me an email as well, right? So with that, wrapping this video here. Thank you for watching. If you like this content, please do subscribe to the channel, and happy automation.